I love the use of giant spiders.
Death by 1,000 pencil stabs.
One up this time.
Amazing Technicolor Shitshow.
Hello and welcome. This is Amazing Technicolor Shitshow, the podcast where we explore the fumbles and follies of live theater at all levels. I'm Trev.
And I'm Elle.
And today we are doing things a little differently.
Yeah.
We've got an esteemed guest on the podcast.
Esteemed.
One of the hosts herself, Elle. Give it up.
It's me. I'm the esteemed guest.
Because-
Although I don't feel very esteemed, but all right.
What makes you not steamed? Are you pan-fried?
Yeah, probably.
What Elle has done that warrants a guest appearance on this podcast is that you've gone through the process of coming up with a concept, an outline for a new play.
Yes.
And that's super exciting. We'll get
Yeah.
all into it. We kind of figured that I'm going to be like playing the interviewer role and
Yeah.
Elle will be like the guest role.
Yes.
So I've got some questions lined up. We'll
Yeah.
see how the conversation goes.
Yeah.
So instead of asking you anything in the intro,
No banter.
I'm just gonna
Who the hell needs banter?
we got to put our banter in the actual
Yeah. We
episode.
just gotta banter while we're doing the epi, which, yeah, I guess to be fair, we do generally. So I
True.
think it'll work out fine.
It'll be fine.
We'll see.
It'll be fine.
Maybe it'll be fine. All right.
Places.
Thank you, places. So you've been interested in writing for a long time.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed creative writing, like in middle school and high school, and even a little bit in college. And I've always wanted to be a mystery author. Weirdly, that's sort of been a secret dream.
Maybe a reclusive mystery author in the Highlands.
A very reclusive and mysterious
Yes.
mystery author. In the Highlands or the Moors or, some kind of spooky location. But yeah, I've really always loved like mysteries, thrillers, ghost stories, gothic fiction. And I consume, that is like the only kind of literature that I really just like ravenously consume. I
Yes.
love mysteries and thrillers. And I've always sort of been interested in one day writing. And then it really kind of struck me in a dream. I had a dream actually, and I woke up from the dream and I said, oh, that would be a really good book. And then I sort of had a double take and I said, no, that would be a really good play.
It has to see the stage.
And honestly, like one thing led to another, and before you know it, like I literally had an outline for every single scene done. So
it was like 3 days. Yeah.
days.
From
yeah.
concept to full
like a
outline.
full outline completed.
Yeah.
It just, it poured out of my brain like wild. And I don't know why it's never occurred to me that I should be writing for stage, but it's happening now. So
It's going to happen.
I've been
it's
struck by
currently
it.
on
It's
the road.
currently happening.
Yeah. So tell us about the show. Anything that you'd like to share about the story?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll
obviously
I'll
can't
share some basic
share
stuff.
everything.
Yeah,
No spoilers on this
No
podcast.
spoilers. I'll share some basic stuff. So it goes back and forth between the years 1998 and 1948. And it is ultimately a ghost story. That's sort of the general genre. But it's a spooky kind of little mysterious element, but definitely under the surface, it's about control and the lengths to which people will go to maintain control of their surroundings and of their lives. And it also speaks a lot to the roles of women historically and sort of the psychological effects of domestic isolation. So I would consider it to be like a modern female gothic.
Sure.
That's sort of the genre.
Something along the lines of Gaslight, which we have discussed on this podcast before.
Yes, the same genre, exactly.
Yeah. But what you've done is you've accentuated the ghost story element. It's not necessarily a horror story.
No.
But it's a ghost story.
Yes.
Which is very, very fun.
Yes.
And you've been a fan of ghost stories your whole life.
Yes, I
and
have.
Your family has been trading ghost stories your whole life. And you have put a lot of, bits and pieces, elements, ideas, concepts from ghost stories that you've heard from your family
Yes.
into this play.
Precisely. There's a lot of family lore, family ghost story lore that are kind of taking shape. And so it's been very fun to kind of incorporate elements from stories that I heard, from the time I was little on.
So in the show, you've got, the protagonist who's sort of coming in as a nanny for her niece, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so that specifically is an experience that your mom went through, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So at one point, my aunt lived in a house that a lot of people had weird things happen in. There was a lot of weird experiences. My aunts and uncles and my mom had just a lot of weird things, and my cousins who were little at the time. Just a lot of weird things happen in that house. And my mom was babysitting for her niece and nephews when she had a couple strange kind of things happen within the house. And so that was kind of one of the initial basis for just sort of the main characters, that it would be, a nanny kind of character who was taking care of her niece. I also obviously feel a connection to that because I'm an auntie. I've got nieces and nephews. I can kind of see some of my own reflections of like what it would be like if I were taking care of my nieces and something happened,
Right.
like this. And so
And there's an anxiety that comes along with
There's an
watching
anxiety with
someone
that.
else's kids.
Exactly. And so I think there's a lot of sort of like well-known sort of like nanny or babysitter and things are going wrong kind of stories. That's an interesting place to start because there's a lot to unpack with that, the responsibility of taking care of someone else's kids while there's some kind of psychological or horror element going on.
Right.
So that's kind of the basis for what drives the plot.
So Gothic fiction.
Yeah.
You mentioned it's one of your favorite genres. Maybe
yeah.
your favorite, I
Yeah,
guess.
probably. Yeah.
And this is definitely going to be an example of that.
Yeah.
What do you keep in mind while you're building a story as part of a genre? Like what elements of the genre are you going to be focusing on,
Yeah.
and what might you try to reinvent or recontextualize?
Sure. So, if you're not really familiar with Gothic fiction, if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't really know what they're talking about, Gothic fiction in literature is sort of characterized by an environment of fear and the threat of a supernatural element, and the intrusion of the past upon the present.
So you got your Dracula, your Frankenstein.
Precisely. There's some kind of potentially supernatural element, and the atmosphere is one of tense fear. That's the vibe. Then we also have sort of the subgenre of female Gothic fiction, which really explores woman's entrapment within domestic spaces and the woman's subjection to a patriarchal authority. And so
Right.
that is also something that is explored heavily sort of within the subtext of what you're going to see unfolding.
Do you feel like your idea for this story would fit right at home with, other works of Gothic fiction? Or do you feel like
newer.
you're taking
It's more modern. So it's
okay.
definitely, sort of like along those same lines. It's definitely thematically fits with all of those. But I think it's taking just a little bit more of a modern kind of look at that. But even the newer part of the story takes place in 1998. And so things are a little bit different, than they are now. But that's sort of
1998, just a few years ago, right?
Pretty recent in terms of, broadly, that's
Yeah.
pretty recent. But things were still a little different in the 90s,
Long enough ago for somebody who's in their early adulthood. 1998 does sort of feel somewhat like a lifetime ago. So it does
Yeah.
make sense to put this a modern spin on an old genre,
Yeah.
but in a way that still feels kind of old and
Yeah.
still nostalgic in a
Yeah.
certain way.
Exactly. Hmm.
So when you consider how to put a story together, you mentioned you've been influenced by some strategies that you've heard about how to make a story work and how to put it together and how to structure scenes.
Yeah, I've been listening to podcasts, to be honest. I mean, I've read some things as well, but I think the most the easiest way to digest new information for me is via podcast.
For sure.
So if you're listening to this, maybe you agree. Podcasts can be really helpful ways to learn things, and it doesn't feel like you're learning. But yeah, I've been listening to some podcasts about writing, getting some tips and tricks, especially for structuring scenes, because obviously within each scene, you want to make sure that something happens. You need to make sure that you have enough balance of action occurring, and that your characters are leading the conversation, but in ways where you've got subtext that's doing some of the work. You don't want to do too much telling. You want to focus on showing, not telling. And so it's been a lot of fun to kind of do this research, do my podcast listening, get some tips and tricks. And I feel like it's definitely helped me kind of get the confidence that I needed to just like really dive in and go for it.
Broadly looking at the entire story, what was the experience like of figuring out what's going to happen at what point and how all the threads are going to resolve? Was that difficult, or did it sort of pop together seamlessly?
It poured out of my brain like crazy. It was like I uncapped the jar of rice and turned it over, and it just went spewing all over the floor. I had like this manic creative energy that was just consuming my brain. I just like sat and typed and got like the guts of it out of my brain first.
Yeah.
And then once I had all of that, then I actually did a scene to scene breakdown of everything that needed to occur when, in what scene, how each scene starts and ends, what key points we need to get in each of the dialogue sections, what throughout each scene, what the protagonist of that scene wants and what's preventing them from getting it.
Right.
Because you need to have that motivation. You need to have something going on really under the text. And so I have that kind of already mapped out scene to scene. But that process of getting it mapped out scene to scene and actually like putting all the pieces together, it was wild. I like sat down and was click, like typing, and suddenly 4 hours had gone by and I had act one all the way done. And I was just like, whoa, wow. Like all the pieces just really came together. But I think part of it, part of the reason for that is because I read a lot of that. Like I read a lot of that genre. And so I had a good sense of like what that genre needs to function.
Plus, you spend so much of your life interacting with scripts.
Yes.
And plays and what you need to make a play work. And how a play feels from the inside as a performer.
And what makes a play exciting to watch. When you're watching a play, you know, you're going to get bored if you're just watching a scene where there's just a whole bunch of dialogue and you know, it doesn't really go anywhere.
Something else you've mentioned on that note is that you have some ideas for stage magic, because we know that shows need magic moments, magic elements. How did they do that? Kind of you know, twists and turns.
Yes.
What has that been like to try to find where those moments are in your play?
Honestly, it works perfectly with a ghost story. That of course there's gonna be some elements of stage magic, or just where did that come from, or how did that get there, or you know. And so that part of it's been really fun, incorporating those little tidbits. That's just occurring really naturally within the story. So it didn't feel like I had to manufacture magic moments. It felt like it just kind of came together very organically. So I'm looking forward to eventually having a reading of it, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, nice. So before that point, you have to do the actual writing.
Yeah.
We'll check in with you later to see if you feel the same way, but what do you think at this point will be the most challenging part of that process?
Oh, definitely the dialogue. Definitely making dialogue that's natural for the stage. Dialogue that you're watching in a stage production isn't really like regular dialogue.
Right.
But it does have to be sort of natural as well. So it's not like a casual improvised conversation where people stop and go, and exchange
Right.
pleasantries, right? It has to get right to the point. And also it has to sort of reflect the way that people really talk and really interact with each other.
I can imagine that would
so
be really tough.
I think that's going to be the hardest part. But we'll see. I mean, we will check back in. As you said, we're going to continue checking back in and seeing how it's going.
Series, yeah.
This will be a series where we periodically check back in and see how it's going. But as of now, I'm really pumped. I'm like thoroughly ready to dive in. Tomorrow is dialogue writing day 1. So
Hell yeah. Super, super fun.
yeah.
Bon voyage.
Thank you.
It's really, really exciting to go from, thinking about writing to actually writing. And this might be too early to ask this kind of question, but you're going to put this on the stage, and then after you put this on the stage, if you go ahead and publish it, other people will put this on a stage, and sometimes people will put it on a stage, I don't know, poorly.
Yeah.
But can you imagine yourself sitting down to watch somebody else perform something that you've written?
Yeah.
Like, what would you be feeling in that kind of scenario?
Honestly, I think before I could have any sort of critiques, I think I would just be feeling a big gratitude, because
Sure.
I think the reason that people make art is oftentimes to share it and to express some of the, thoughts and memories and point of views that are swirling around in your brain, and let someone else take that in. And so I think, would it be funny if I watched it be done poorly? Yeah, probably. Like, would I be crabby about it? Maybe a little bit. But I think ultimately the joy of being able to create something and put it on paper and then have someone else see it and interpret it is, I think, just really something that I would be so just blessed, if that were to happen.
I can imagine it would be
gratitude
humbling.
and humbling, I'm sure, more than anything else.
It's one of my favorite parts of theater, that it is a collaborative art form.
Yeah.
From the writer's perspective.
Uh-huh.
Like, there's no other art. Even, you could say that people who write music to be performed by other groups, like, that's a little bit like playwriting. But even so, like, in a music score, you're writing down a lot of dynamic markings and expression notes and instructions on how to play the piece exactly perfectly.
Yeah.
But in a play, you just put down words, and then the way that the actors interpret those words and the way that the director puts it all together, and the set design and lighting, and there's so much tech that is not mentioned in the script.
Yeah.
It's just so much about creating, this baby.
And then interpretation, just letting
throwing it into the wind.
Yeah, letting someone else interpret it. And I think that's cool too.
Wild.
And if someone reads this play someday and takes something out of it that I didn't even think I was putting in, I think that's also something amazing. I think whatever you interpret from the art is valid. Maybe that's a little bit more like of a philosophical way to look at it, but I think so. I want people to take something meaningful out of it.
Yeah. I think when you talk about playwriting and, the way of sharing information, it's really easy to get philosophical, because it's very just steeped in how humans share stories and put their own riffs on the same stories.
Yeah.
It's all so fun.
And quite frankly, I want to entertain. And I understand that there are people who write, just for the feelings of it and just for the drama of it. But truly, I think having something that's captivating and entertaining is a big motivator too. So I think I will judge whether I have done my job if people are entertained by it.
Well, that sounds like a perfect place to end. I wish you great luck.
Thank you.
On your playwriting journey.
Thanks.
It seems like you're, taking a first great step into the unknown, and maybe we'll check in with you halfway through the process, and then maybe again, once you've finished a draft or something like that.
Yes, I actually I heard a little piece of advice that I think I'm really trying to take to heart about writing, and that is that courage comes before confidence. And I think that really is what it's all about. I think if you have an idea, you just need to be brave enough to start, and then confidence will come as you go along.
That's neat.
Yeah.
I love that. What a beautiful little note of inspiration.
Right?
All right, I've got a listener story for you.
All right.
This listener writes, "This story took place when I was music directing a high school production of 9 to 5. No, this is not the production that we were involved in.
Yes.
This is a different
This is a different production, yes. Mm-hmm.
In the last scene before intermission, Dora Lee enters Franklin Hart's office with her purse. Inside it is a prop gun and a scarf. Later in the scene, Hart gets tied up with a telephone cord, the scarf gets shoved into his mouth as a gag, and then the prop gun is waved around and used as a threat and becomes vital to how the rest of the scene plays out.
Right.
It's really an unhinged scene. I love 9 to 5.
This scene is fantastic. I love this scene.
Well, during our dress rehearsal, Dora Lee forgot to bring her purse onto the stage.
Oh, no.
So there was no gag for Hart's mouth, obviously, which wasn't a huge deal. But then came the part of the scene where the gun was needed. The actress playing Judy is supposed to threaten to kill him. Obviously, she didn't have a weapon to do that.
Oh, no.
So, thinking on her feet, she grabbed a pencil off Hart's desk and went in as if she was going to stab him.
This is very cute, very clever. I love it.
The resourcefulness is very much appreciated.
Yes, very resourceful.
Now, later on in the scene, all three of the female leads, Dora Lee, Judy, and Violet, are all in the office with Hart, and he says something to them along the lines of, "Now, ladies, the way I see it is, you're either going to have to let me go or kill me." And the ladies all look at the gun with a facial expression that look like, they're warming up to the idea of killing him.
We could kill him. Yeah, we could do that.
Well, obviously, this particular joke wouldn't land without the gun.
Right.
But when it got to this part of the scene, when Frank said the line, "The way I see it, you're either going to have to let me go or kill me," without missing a beat, all three of them immediately grabbed pencils off of the desk and surrounded him.
That is so cute.
The teamwork.
Oh, I love it. I love teamwork. I love that they got creative. And I love that they were just immediately on the same page. That is so fun.
Death by 1,000 pencil stabs.
Right? Like he's just going to get stabbed to death with a pencil. Ooh, it got a little gothic up in here.
It did. That thematic episode planning.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta love it.
Yep.
5 minutes.
Thank you, Five.
Trev, here's your little Thank You 5 game for today. I will be giving you a prompt to read, and I'm going to periodically interrupt you and ask you to make some writing changes to the story to make it more gothic. We've been kind of talking a little bit about gothic, what that means. So
spook it up a
we're
bit.
Talking ghosts, demons, letters from the past, crumbling castles and ruins, an ancient evil being unleashed, a twisted love story gone wrong, a crumbling psyche, etc.
Okay, yeah.
All right, you get it? You get the vibe we're going for?
I'm in it.
You ready
Yeah.
to get spooky? All right. I have sent you the synopsis of the musical 42nd Street, which could be described as a high-energy tap spectacle.
Some may describe it as that.
Not particularly gothic, though. So
Yes.
what we will do is you're going to turn 42nd Street into a gothic horror at my suggestions, all right? You go ahead and start reading, and I will periodically stop you.
All right. Peggy Sawyer steps off the train from Pennsylvania and arrives in New York City just as auditions for the new musical Pretty Lady are ending.
All right, New York City, it's a great place, but it's not very gothic. Give me a different location for this.
Oh, gotta be East Gloucestershire.
Okay.
Some county off the coast
Yes.
of England.
A coastal English
A
town.
coastal English town with an unpronounceable name.
Okay.
Gloucestershire.
Okay. And now, paint us a little picture. So auditions for this musical are occurring in this theater. What's this theater like? Paint us a picture.
Ooh, well, cobwebs, as many cobwebs as seats. So in
It's
every
mostly
other
cobwebs.
Yeah, in every other seat there's an audience member and a big spider sitting on a big cobweb.
Cool. Excellent. I love the use of giant spiders. That's really adding a lot to this production already.
Yeah, a chandelier has fallen into the middle of the audience.
Oh,
underneath
fabulous.
of which are the crumbling bones of the theater goers that were crushed by said chandelier.
Excellent. All right, carry on.
Juvenile lead Billy Lawler tries to charm her and sneak her into the show, but choreographer Andy Lee dismisses her.
Why does the choreographer turn Peggy away? Why doesn't he want to see her audition?
Oh, he's got an evil glint in his eye.
Yeah.
And his eye sees into her soul. And there's like
It's a magical eye?
Yeah, pages and pages of like inner turmoil that the eye sees.
Oh.
And she doesn't know.
Yeah.
Peggy doesn't realize anything's wrong with her.
She's just catching vibes.
Yeah, she just knows that Andy knows that something's wrong with her specifically.
Okay, love that.
Yep.
All right, go on.
Embarrassed, Peggy runs into director Julian Marsh, who later notices her talent when the chorus girls befriend her and encourage her to dance. Impressed, Julian adds her to the chorus.
All right, what's Peggy's mental state like at this point in this show?
Okay, so I mean, she wants to be excited about this opportunity, but she's got like some turmoil because of the whole evil eye thing.
Yeah.
But she needs something more to be disturbed about. I
Like
think.
a dark secret?
She needs a dark secret. Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I think that she remembers that, when she was a child, she accidentally was responsible for, the death of some other child. And that child was Julian Marsh's long lost cousin.
Okay, so we got like a backstory
Yeah.
that features some deception and some real
some deception,
darkness. All
some
right.
real trauma.
Yeah, okay.
Leading lady Dorothy Brock, a fading star, is cast partly to secure financial backing from her wealthy boyfriend, Abner Dillon. These names are so funny for no reason.
Yeah, they're just
They're conspicuously creative names.
Yeah.
Like nobody's named John Hancock. It's like Abner Dillon. Though she reassures everyone of her professionalism, she is secretly involved with her former vaudeville partner, Pat Denning.
Okay, is Pat Denning a regular man?
No, he's stitched together from several other men.
Love that journey for him.
Jury's still out on why or who did this. Maybe never explained.
Maybe never explained.
Yeah,
All right.
he symbolizes the folly of man.
Okay, love that. Okay, carry on.
When Dorothy is found with Pat, Julian fears Abner will withdraw funding and arranges for gangsters to pressure Pat into ending the affair.
Okay, rather than using gangsters, do you have any other ways to pressure someone into ending the affair that might feel a little more gothic?
I mean, honestly, this is a wild turn. I didn't
Yeah.
remember this from 42nd
There's gangsters.
Street.
We can leave the gangsters in if you like them.
We can leave the gangsters, but they've got to, yeah, you're right that they got to be more gothic. So they're, I mean, can they be minions of some kind?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All Igor hunched minions.
Yeah.
Like
All the little Igor thugs like all show up to beat him
Igor
up.
thugs, each with at least one hump.
One hump this time.
So these dancing Igors, they shuffle in and then they say that we're going to take you to master if you don't end this relationship with our stitched friend.
Yeah.
And
all
she
right.
says, "Oh no,
Okay.
not the Igors."
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, carry on.
Costume and scenery problems plague rehearsals.
Okay, is there a reason for that? Is it a supernatural reason? In the show, they just have a whole bunch of problems, but is there there some kind of
Well, the stage is crumbling
Yeah.
because it's been crumbling for eons
Yeah.
because of the folly of man and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah.
So I think that the stage has been crumbling for ages. It will be crumbling for ages.
All right,
and
so-
like things are going wrong
because of the crumbling castle?
Yeah, because of the collective sin of everybody in the chorus.
Excellent. Love
Mm-hmm.
that journey.
At a cast party, Dorothy drunkenly breaks up with Abner, nearly dooming the production. Opening night finally arrives, but Peggy accidentally collides with Dorothy, breaking her ankle.
Okay, are we going to stick with a broken ankle here, or does this need to be something a little bit more dramatic?
Oh my gosh, like does she get killed off or
I
something?
don't know. That's up to you.
Is she in the rest of the story? Yeah, I think she
plunges off the edge of the stage. Something really dramatic here.
Yeah,
Give
I
me
guess so, because the stage is we've realized that the stage is crumbling.
Yeah.
I think she breaks her ankle, trips, skins her knee, cracks her patella, tumbles down into the orchestra pit,
through the stage.
through the bottom of the orchestra
Yeah.
pit, falls down into the screaming void of screaming ghosts.
Yeah.
And it's just that scene from the Hunchback of Notre Dame where he falls into all the souls
Yeah.
swirling around him.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
she goes straight to hell, and I guess doesn't show up in the rest of the story.
She doesn't show up in the rest of the synopsis.
There we go.
So you're
That's
good.
all right. It does not have plot armor. Cool, good. Enraged, Julian fires Peggy and announces the show's cancellation.
Well, she's now responsible for someone plunging straight into the depths of hell. So, yeah.
But she's a good dancer, so we'll let it slide.
That's fair.
With the production on the brink of collapse, the chorus persuades Julian that Peggy can take over the lead. He rushes to the train station and convinces her to return, promising stardom.
What's Peggy's psychological state now?
Oh, I mean, she's wrecked. You know, she doesn't want it. She doesn't want it. She
doesn't want anything
She
to do with
tears
it.
her
Yeah.
garments.
Yeah.
And there's a big scarlet letter moment when she realizes, like, she's been inflicting her own wounds on herself
Yeah.
that rival the wounds that she's made on
Oh, yeah.
the other leading
Excellent.
lady. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's very
Unhinged.
oh yes.
Yeah, absolutely unhinged. All right.
Given only 2 days to learn the role, Peggy struggles. On opening night, Julian tells her that she must come back a star. Rude. The show is a triumph, launching Peggy from chorus girl to Broadway sensation, while Julian remains alone on stage, reflecting on the relentless world of show business.
Okay, do you like this ending? So the real ending of the show, it ends with Julian singing the song 42nd Street alone, alone on an empty stage.
Body.
Yeah.
Gaudy. yeah, cool.
Do you like this ending, or do you want this to be changed?
Oh, it's good. It's good. I think it's nice. I mean, if you don't know this song, this is when he just kind of like has this really emotional
Lets it out.
moment.
Is he just surrounded by all the spiders and all the ghosts in the theater?
I forgot about the spiders.
And then also the theater is like sort of crumbling around him while he sings it. I think we've just painted the atmosphere so much better that I think I'm really feeling the
It's
emotion
really
of this
good.
ending now.
Listen to this song and imagine as Julian Marsh sings this big number, the entire theater crumbles around him.
Yes.
And all the spiders and all the patrons and the chandelier and the crumbling skeletons all crumble and fall into the abyss below.
Yeah.
And the only thing left is Julian Marsh on a pillar of stone, the one pillar left of anything in this entire auditorium until he too gets swallowed up by the earth.
Yeah, I think that's a much more dramatic ending. Give the public what they want, right?
Give us what we want.
Give us what we want.
Brilliant. Okay. I think I made some improvements
I
there.
think you made a lot of improvements.
Very spooky. Mm-hmm. Nightmare on 42nd Street,
Ooh,
if you will.
clever.
Thanks. Well, that's all the time we have today on Amazing Technicolor Shitshow. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you hear, go ahead and give us a good review on all of the podcast apps. Tell your friends about us and like us on socials. Send us your stories of any cool things that happened to you on stage, any bad things or interesting things or zany things that happened to you on stage.
Times you had to think on your feet.
Times you had to think on your feet. Times you had to think on your hands. All of those good stuff. Send those stories to us at amazingtechnikolershow@gmail.com or on the form on our website, amazingtechnikolershow.com. If you don't like what you hear, go ahead and tell your enemies, and they will get sucked into the abyss along with Julian Marsh,
All right.
crumbling into the screaming void below. Piano accompaniment was provided by Paul Thelen, and the stage manager is Daniel Schneider. Thank you so much for listening again, and we wish you the very, very best. Remember, whatever you're up to, on stage or off stage,
Or in your life.
or in your life,
Sometimes we have a hard time.
dying.
Sometimes we have a hard time remembering the words we're supposed to say.
I've got an allergenic head shake. Headache. Break a leg.
Amazing Technicolor Shitshow.